Hello, hello, hello. I'm Lynn Browder, and I have a son, Owen, who is 11 and has autism, and he helps me paint. And he helps me with the backgrounds with a hand-over-hand method, and then I paint the rest. I've had quite an adventure today. And the latest and the greatest was when I went to put my phone into the little holder to hold the the phone for recording. I somehow flung it out of the holder and it went right into the paints. Right into my paints. That was quite an interesting little thing here. This paintbrush is not my friend, I don't think. It is not cooperating with me. Oh boy. Let's see. There's one. I don't know why it just sometimes when I'm part of it's the way I like drag it, but you can see how this is like extra dotted in those areas, and it's just a matter of the paint and the paintbrush and everything. Not that it really matters, but just kind of giving it a little different feel here. This maybe it's just me. That is the possibility. That's probably the probability. Because this mama is tired. Owen woke up last night numerous times. But it was all about 1 o'clock it started, and I had told him we were going to the pool today, and when he gets something on his mind, it is hard to get him to focus on anything else. So that was on his mind. That was completely and totally on his mind, and he woke up thinking that it was time to go to the pool. And that did not go over well, that it was not time to go to the pool. So we had to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. And he went back to sleep for a few minutes. Well, went back to his room for a few minutes. And just as I was falling back asleep, he came to inform me that it was time to go to the pool, which was not even closely time to go to the pool, or whatever other word I can think of that at 1 o'clock in the morning. Closely is probably not the right word, but that's where I'm at. I'm tired. And so, he had a mission. He was ready to go. And Thursdays are already his favorite day because he gets to go to therapy, and he loves going to his therapy, and he loves his therapist, and he loves doing it. Well, it's hard because that's not, what we were getting ready to do. It was just, that was not it. And so, he was ready. And the more I tried to convince him to go back to sleep, the more that did not happen. And so it goes. And this is what happens when I'm not paying attention to what I want to do, and I don't really know what I'm doing. So I get in my mind that I have particular ideas, and Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. And if you've watched any of my other ones, you know, a lot of times we just keep painting until we're done. I don't go with a big theme here. I just paint until I'm done. And I started painting with Owen to work on his fine motor skills. And I can tell you that painting, you know, he's getting better with his fine motor skills, and that's the goal. But painting means more to me than I could have even imagined. Like I wouldn't have realized how much the painting thing is part of something for me. You know, it's oh, I can't even think about it. I mean, I can't think of the words. It's probably partly because I'm exhausted. But this has just changed my whole world because I get to do something with my son. Sometimes that's hard because he has expectations and the thought process, and you know, he doesn't quite understand. As one of his therapists says, we have to teach him how to have fun because he gets caught up in the moment of what's happening next instead of enjoying the moment that he's in. And so that was what was even harder about, it breaks my heart. That was what was even harder about today is we ended up not going to the pool because I couldn't drive him there. We couldn't go. He was anxious and you know, it makes me, he couldn't think about it. He couldn't follow through. He couldn't, you know, it was just all too much. So we didn't go. We stayed home. And, you know, that's sad for me because this was something that he was really looking forward to at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. But I just couldn't take him. There was just no way physically, emotionally. Some days I can handle not having any sleep, but it doesn't always work like that. It just doesn't always, it doesn't. You can't always function without sleep. So, today was not one of those days. Today was one of those days that I had to just say, okay, I'm sorry, bud, but we can't. I can't function. I can't think. I can't do it. And you know, that's something that makes it even harder because when he finds something that he truly loves, and here I am not being able to take him, and in my heart, I understand why. I get it. I'm exhausted. I'm not feeling well from being exhausted. I can't process it all. He can't process it all. But it's just hard. And so we stayed home, and he didn't even get to go to his therapy. I canceled that as well because he couldn't, he was very, very anxious, very excitable, very traumatic experience because traumatic's probably not the right word. Just, he couldn't calm down. He couldn't, you know, just upset. Why wouldn't he be? Because that's the things he likes to do. He, you know, wanted to go. But thankfully, as the night wore on, it kind of eased him a little bit. And he was able to calm down and go from there. But still, it just upsets me that it wasn't something that we could do today. I'm not sure where I'm going with this because I wanted more than these flowers. But the cool thing with him today was that I had told him Mommy was sick, Mommy didn't feel good, and I tried to explain to him that he has to have sleep, Mommy has to have sleep, and trying to explain that to him doesn't always, come across the same way, but at least he was. When I told him that I was sick, he told me that I needed to go to his doctor, which that just touches my heart, because it's hard for him. It's a complicated thing for him to understand all of this. And his little heart was right there because he told me to go to the doctor. Now, as you see, this is where it gets complicated because I've just added 2 stems in front of the coloring. And so I either have to decide if I want to continue this daisy-ish path, whatever these are, or if I want to cover this up, or if I want to just kind of color it back in with that and put them kind of behind because they're stuck out there. And so this is the process that we must go from. So I'm kind of like, I like color. I really want like tons of color on everything. But I've got to sometimes learn control. Learn to tone things down. Learn to just back away from entering into all of the colors. And that's what this was supposed to be tonight, was just, doing the simplistic colors. Not that yellow is simplistic, but meaning just letting it be with one theme. But that's hard for me to kind of break from. And this poor plant, he's got like a long, I don't know what happened there. It might be sleep. It might be the fact that I need sleep. That is probably what it is. So now, see, my one poor brush that did whatever it did. These are my colors that I chose tonight. And I have this, orangey color. And I want to take some of this and kind of make it a little more like toned into a yellow-ish, so that I can use it kind of as a outline color for what I'm doing. And so I'm going to do that. And then I've been putting this, if you've watched any of my other ones, I put it on the parchment paper because I use it once it's dried to make these little paint blobs. These are magnets, and this one has too much glue. That was one of my first ones that I did. So I take those, and then this is the one from last night that's dried. And this one kind of looks like a flower to me, where this is the stem, and that's like maybe a chrysanthemum or something. I probably said that name wrong. As much as I paint flowers, I am not the green thumb. My mom is definitely the green thumb specialist. I love flowers. I absolutely love flowers, but I could not. I have no green thumb. I have absolutely no green thumb at all with that. So I paint them instead. I paint them instead. I'm not going to be up much longer, I hope, because this mama is tired. It was a long night for us. My poor boy. And just like I said, it breaks my heart that today was his favorite day and he couldn't process it. He couldn't process to go back to sleep, and it was just a hard time for him because, you know, he knew what he wanted. He wanted to go to the pool, but he, as much as he understands the concept of time, he doesn't like calendars or things like this, which we're trying to work on that with him. But he can tell you the days of the week, the months of the year, what year it is, all of that. Like, he completely, when he went to bed, he said that tomorrow, now let's see, I'm like, is today the 27th, the 28th? He knew the day better than I did, obviously. I think today's the 27th, and that makes tomorrow the 28th, I think. But he knew that. He knew it. He knew what the days were. And so he doesn't use a calendar. He keeps going by what he knows and what he remembers. And so it's amazing to me how he does that, how he can process days and fills it all in and knows exactly what day of the week it is. So it's amazing to me how much the concept is there for him. Now I'm trying to decide if I want to put one more over here, or if I want to make, I think I'm going to make these a little more long-ish and call it a painting. Because have I mentioned I'm tired? I think I did. I told my friend I was cranky. I might be a little cranky, so I apologize if I sound cranky. I am probably cranky. Oh, I just can't even imagine. You know, I always say that autism is as much about how I handle it as it is about Owen having it. And I can only imagine what's going on in his mind, what he's processing. And my son is brilliant. He can speak in I don't know how many languages. I pray one day he'll be able to tell me, just because I want to know. He understands probably more than he really speaks. He, as far as everything, but as far as other languages. But he knows so many. And he listens to all kinds of like nursery rhymes and different things in other languages. And so he just knows, I can't even imagine. And it blows my mind how much he truly knows. And so for him to be as you know, understanding about all of those particular things, he can't truly express to me his thoughts on why, we didn't go today. And he can tell me he's like wants to go, but when you express emotions, that's so different. And he doesn't really express a lot of his emotions. Like, he's learning how to, and we're working on that. but it's not something that he goes through and knows how to particularly express some of that. So he can't tell me that. And I can only imagine what he's gone through today, because it was one more day that he didn't get to do the things he likes to do. And he really loves school and wants to be back at school. And so that's part of the reason he's counting down so much with knowing all of the days. I thought I would highlight this a little bit more. I'm trying to paint more with yellows because yellows and I don't generally get along. They tend to, if you've watched my videos before, you know that I always say I like to watch paint dry. And, oh, there we go, see? You've also probably heard me say I drop paint a lot. That's why, oh, this might actually be a good one for splatter paint. I do that sometimes when things like that happen. I was going to fix that. Like, I can easily kind of adapt that. But I like splattering the paint occasionally. See, we just put an extra, just put a little extra leaf. What's petal? Petal. I was like, what's that part called? I have a hard time with words sometimes. But I always put too much paint on my paintbrush sometimes. And I end up dropping paint a lot of times. So that happens quite frequently. And sometimes we recover better than others. So now I have to decide if I really want to splatter this or if I should just leave it. Because splattering, you know, I take the paintbrush and like splatter paint, and I don't know if this is one of those days or not. I kind of feel like it is, but I don't have a lot of the yellow color. I have some of the white and stuff on the paper. So we either go for it or we don't. See, I fill it even fuller than I normally fill. And then flicker with the thing. Well, let's just go for it. Let's just do a light dousing. A light. That's what I'm going to convince myself of. And if you look at the background, you can see that like some edges aren't as good, well, flat, whatever you want to say, as others. And when I paint with my son, depending on the day, you know, he's a little more into it, or I'm a little more into it, or something. And he'll paint more of it kind of on his own, or sometimes he needs a little more assistance. And with those days, depending on the day, I let him finish more of it, or I go back and, you know, we go back together and kind of adapt it. So, and you know what, that's part of this journey. That's part of why I paint with him. That's why I started painting. And so whatever the background looks like, it's through love. It's through our experience. And so I don't really try to change it or adapt it too much depending on the day. So that actually worked today. A little splatter. A little splatter goes a long way sometimes. And see, this is O for Owen, and then the L and the B. And he's the foundation of why we started painting together. And so that's why this isn't so that's why this is so important to me. So there we go. There we go. Well, I appreciate everyone being on the journey with us. And I appreciate you listening to our story and hearing my sleepy rambles tonight. So enjoy the rest of your day, and toodles!